So much for having me. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Good, okay. Last week, in one fell swoop, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, got rid of what was left of the pretense that the United States cares about rules-based international order, that it cares about human rights, that it cares about anything other than its own imperial interests, with his call to ethnically cleanse and annex Gaza, put it into US control. This is something that anybody who cares about humanity in general needs to oppose to the fullest extent that they can, and that's why we're all here. It's part of why we're all here today, so I thank you all for being here. For years now, Ireland has effectively been an airfield for the US military, facilitated by the government, as American warplanes carrying munitions, carrying bombs, carrying soldiers, refueled here on their way to kill people in the furtherance of American imperial interests in the Middle East and elsewhere, all while our government pretends that it's not happening. The state maintains, and would expect everyone here to believe, that these flights are not carrying weapons, that the United States, which has since October 2023 been funding and arming a genocide, would somehow respect Irish law around carrying weapons. It's not believable. Not only has the government turned a blind eye to the US military carrying munitions through this country for use in the Middle East and elsewhere, we also know now that so afraid are our politicians of disrupting the flow of weapons from the US to elsewhere that they were prepared to turn a blind eye to commercial airlines carrying weapons through Irish sovereign airspace without legal permission to do so. All while maintaining that this wasn't happening and scolding members of the public who asked them to do something about it. The government's claim that the Occupied Territories Bill, which is a very important piece of legislation, as everyone here will know, needs to be legally amended, doesn't hold up. We know from leaked documents from the Israeli Ministry for Justice that around the time the bill was passed, the then Minister for Finance, Pascal Donoghue, got in contact with his equivalent in the Israeli Ministry for Finance, and he assured them in no uncertain terms, look, you don't have to worry about it. We're going to block this bill by undemocratic means with the money message mechanism. The government has never had any interest in taking material action to help people in Palestine. It's very good with rhetoric. It's very good at saying the right things when it's speaking to people in the European press corps. But if you listen to people like the UN Special Rapporteur for Palestine and the occupied territories, she'll tell you the truth, that we've done nothing. And in their more candid moments, politicians will own up to the fact. Former Green Party TD in the run-up to the last general election, Ossian Smith, appeared on a podcast that was held by actually a group of students, and he told them that the US Democratic Party actually specifically asked the Irish government to shelve the Occupied Territories Bill. That's why it didn't happen. It's nothing to do with legality, and we know from European legal experts that the bill is perfectly suitable to be implemented tomorrow. It's just that the government has been subject to a pressure campaign by a country that we're told is our greatest friend and ally, when everybody here knows that the United States is nothing more than a bully that uses intimidation, whether that's economic pressure or outright violence, to force smaller countries into submission and make it do what it wants. Well, I say, and everyone here says, it's time this country stood up to it. And these threats are, they're pretty explicit. We know as well from leaked correspondence from the US ambassador that was sent to a number of high-ranking government officials, Taoiseach, Taoiseach, and so on, where she offered She said, look,